It's another episode of Reflections. This is going to be another Dota 2 one. And I've got EternaLEnVy here with me, who's going to talk about his career, hopefully get some insights onto some of the people he's played with, his thoughts on the game. So I notice a lot of interviews that go back in your past always go back to this infamous period where you played with no Tidehunter, who obviously then went on to become Alliance, because at the time it was a lot of drama, the fact that you guys had won DreamHack, then you dropped off a little bit the next year, then you were removed from the team, and then their reasoning, as you've gone over many times in interviews, was they claimed that they just wanted to have an all Swedish lineup, and they kind of implied that like you needed to have that. I know you disagreed with some of this, and I've seen you say in past interviews like it seemed like you kind of had a fractious relationship with Loda, like maybe him you didn't get along with so well, and then the problem for you was you thought you were really good friends with S4, and you thought maybe he should help make things work more and all that. So I know you've been over that ground a lot of time in interviews. I've seen you answer this many times. It's something that fans bring up. What I wanted to ask about this was, even though it's true that despite winning DreamHack, at the beginning of the next year, the team was having some difficulties, and it seemed like you had a little bit of an individual slump. If you could just imagine a world in which, for whatever reason, they didn't choose to remove you, like they figured out some way, like we'll try and make it work, or maybe we have to change up the way the team's structured. If you just stayed in the team and the team becomes Alliance with EternaLEnVy playing 5 position, what do you think would have actually happened?
I have no idea. That's a really hard question. You can't. I can't say for sure. That's way too hard a question. Not only is it like so many years ago, but like the player I am now changed because of the kick itself. You know, the kick itself like can change you quite a lot. So it's not really like, it's kind of silly to answer this question, honestly.
Well, let me ask you this: what if you'd have continued on in that team and it became Alliance? You'd have been a support player still, right? If you'd have continued your whole career as a support player, what would you think it would be like? Do you think you would have? Would you have enjoyed staying as a support? Would it have been good for your career? Did you have to become a carry?
I think carry would definitely be the best role for me, because honestly, if I had stayed in Alliance, I would be very unhappy with the way Loda plays for quite a long time, I feel. So that would definitely affect me. Though, like the reason to why I got kicked, like going back to what you said, like the Swedish idea, like, it's true, sort of, but it's not the reason to why I got kicked. Like, on that team, I was only truly friends with S4, because, you know, I played a long time with him. Whereas with Aki, Loda, and Bulldog, I didn't play with Loda and Aki, especially that long. And, you know, they were just fighting for their friend at EGM, whereas I wasn't really their friend, so, like, them kicking me out is, like, kind of fine. Like, for me, I only had issues with S4, because I thought he would kind of talk to me about it, but like, I mean, back then I was like, the kick was completely fine. I never ever said the kick was bad. It was just I didn't like the way they did it, but it was only basically just S4, honestly. As for like what would have happened on that team, like had I kept playing with them, I wouldn't be that good. Like the reason to why I played bad, looking back, is because I had a vitamin D deficiency, and I never knew about this till the following year. So I played on that team, and I played like super shit for a while, and I didn't really understand what was happening. And then the next year, I played really bad again on the same time period. Like, I won MLG, and then I went to China, blah blah blah. It was fine. And then when I came back, I was like so bad, and I was like, "What's happening?" And nowadays, I realized I had a vitamin D deficiency. But had I played for Alliance, I would suck ass, because I was not that good a player anyway. I would just I had this idea, like I was new to the game still. I had this idea about farming that kind of like came to me from MTW, because they look at the way they farmed was they kind of farmed the map, and they didn't really close out the game. They closed out the game by like starving you, not by just going high ground.
Okay.
All the time. And I took that idea, and I thought that they played really bad for their idea, so I tried to make it way more efficient. Like, not by like one player, like AUI was farming really, really well. Like, I was impressed by him. But that was just like this one player idea. I wanted the whole team to farm. And I wanted the whole team to farm the enemy's farm. And but myself, I wasn't farming at all. I had this idea that support shouldn't be farming, and I should just be using my time to stack and stuff for my and just giving farm making space for my team, especially for my carry. But that was the wrong idea. So if I stayed on that team, I would have sucked ass. EGM actually entered the scene, and he had this other idea where he would just farm the whole freaking game. Like he will have so much farm, and that idea was the correct idea. I learned about that when I joined Kaipi, and I saw Pi was farming a lot.
So one of the things that was interesting was when you left and you made your statement about why you left, one of the things I've noticed people never ask you about is actually you had this really interesting way of describing one of the problems you saw, which was that you said that like it felt like you weren't very good at knowing how to do your calls. Like sometimes you were like hesitant on what call to make and you felt like forced into making a call a certain way. The reason I bring this up is because at different points in your career, you've actually said stuff like, you know, sometimes I don't want to be the caller, or the carry shouldn't call later on, etc. What is calling to EternaLEnVy? Like, what type of person should be the caller? Are you suited to be a caller?
I'm definitely suited to make calls. It's just how you make calls is different. Like back in Alliance, like what happened was I made every call, and especially at DreamHack, especially the finals, I made every call and very fast. I made like I was talking pretty much nonstop. And it was a good thing, but right now it's definitely not a good thing anymore. And then later on, I felt like because I wasn't playing well, like I said, I know it's the excuse, but I think it's true. It might not be honestly, but like either way, I was playing mediocre, and I didn't really understand what to do all the time, especially not for my teammates because I didn't even understand myself all the time. So, and I was forced into a situation where I felt like no one was stepping up to make calls. People will only make comments that are pretty whiny and not actual things that help us win the game. So yeah, it wasn't until S4 started drafting right before I got kicked. But even then, I don't feel like he was taking enough space. It was after I got kicked that he stepped up and was like, "All right, I guess it's my turn."
So what is it about Loda's style of play that you didn't like? I mean, later on, obviously, Alliance was very successful the next year. Is there something you think about his style of play that's not correct? What is it? What doesn't vibe with you about Loda's approach to Dota 2?
Well, back then it was just I just didn't feel like he had the. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like he's a good player. I think that to this day that he's a good player. It just back then I didn't feel like I'm not sure exactly what happened, but. And back then, Dota players were not nearly as good as now. It's not even close. And he didn't really have the eyes to see what was good and what to steal. And I fought a lot of I played with PowerNet, I played with Black and stuff, and I felt like they had some things that I liked, but there's still things that there were more. And I saw this from AUI, and I saw some Arrow and Howl, and I didn't feel like he had this urge to steal things from other players, not only stay yourself, but to take things away from other players and make yourself even better. And so that would be one thing I wasn't very happy about. He kind of just stayed his own old school way of playing. Obviously this was a long time ago, so
yeah. So you say that
that's how I felt.
So you kind of implied there that the way you react to being kicked can be very important. Like maybe it can motivate you, or it can send you in a different direction. Like I'm going to play like this. Why does being kicked from Noah Tidehunter make EternaLEnVy become like a carry player forever after that?
Well, I was always a carry player. I can play support. Generally good carry players can play support anyway. Because it's just how it works kind of, because you kind of lame the support, and the flow of your carry is based on your support's movement. So yeah, but I played support. I played carry in pubs, so I was a really high MR player. I just played pubs a lot, and so I played what I needed to win, and generally those were carry heroes. So in general, I was always kind of a carry player. And the players that impressed me the most back then was PowerNet and AUI and S4. So, and two of those guys were carry players. So I just
Okay, so explain this to me. So in the team that you make afterwards, you just referenced there twice in two of the answers about AUI's farming, and then he was a carry player. He used to be obviously a main carry of one of his teams beforehand, but in your team, the one that you made, the Speed Gaming team going to Cloud9, he becomes a support player. What did you think of Aoi, the support player, when he was in your team's AUI?
Um, I I don't know. AU is a very special player because he's probably the smartest player in Dota in terms of like math and like thinking about things in a more, let's say, like like mathematical way, I guess. Like he can tell what, like he likes to simplify the game into like equations, and like he likes to play the same style all the time. Like he'll just play with Visage and he'll just stay in his lane, and he'll play like super calm and calculated, and know like what items to buy and what to do. And like a lot of it had to do with farming. Like he didn't really have this wasted movement that a lot of the other supports did. Like back then, like supports just run around and just kind of do nothing. But AUI would like think about what he does and like try to make like his play into like a formula where he'll just kind of try to do the same thing every game, which it was pretty good.
So one of the things I found interesting was when AUI was in your team and you had the Cloud9 run and you had all those seconds and all those top placings, when he left the team, it sounded like in posts you've made and vlogs, it sounded like you, even though you didn't regret removing him because something had to be done, it sounded like one thing that you did kind of not maybe appreciate when he was in the team was you said about how it's almost like because he used to back you up on calls, you always took that for granted. Like when you went into the next lineup, suddenly there maybe wasn't someone who thought the same way as you during an important call or just said, oh yeah, let's do whatever he just said there. Is this an accurate portrayal of like what worked when he was in the team?
Yeah, like I mean, I played of like a pretty like strong like let's see what's it called, attitudes. Is it called attitude? That's not it. Strong personalities.
Okay.
So it was very hard for me to control them. And like I played also a lot of tilters, so like people would tilt a lot late game and they would try to just do some random stuff, and I would sometimes have to scream like fucking listen to me right now, like just listen, like and like people would still kind of like you know their heroes would like run around in circles because they're like trying to listen to me but not really, you know, they want to listen to themselves, and then every now and then AUI will be like, all right guys, it's fucking late game, just listen to Envy. Like, and that, I mean, he didn't swear, but yeah, that helped him out. But I don't think AEI would have worked in my team anyway, because it was like he's US West, and that's a really big deal. Yeah.
Do you think he changed as a player at all in EG, or did EG in any way fit him in a different way?
He definitely changed, but he still kind of remained the same, and I think that's probably why he got kicked in the end. But I mean, he's a really good, he's a good player, and he's probably like he's my favorite person, like in terms of like a good person in Dota. Like but like back then during some really critical situations, he would kind of just start screaming about stuff, and it was pretty bad, and I don't know, he had a huge ping issue, so it wasn't really the right environment for him. So I can see why he like didn't function all the time properly. It was quite hard.
Does that have anything to do in your mind as to why it didn't work out in the end in EG? As in the end, they also removed, not just to get RTZ, but also I think they implied something along the lines of like, you know, maybe he didn't just single-mindedly follow PPD. He had his own ideas about things, or he would make certain calls at certain times. Was that anything to do with it, do you think?
I mean, it's kind of really unfair to say, because like at the end of the day, they kicked him for a former teammate.
Yeah, sure.
Who was also one of their best friends, which is also considered the best player in the world, so by a lot.
Fair enough.
So it's like sure they kicked AUI, but like it's for RTZ. It's not like they kicked him and like they just got some dude. So I mean, whatever. Like,
since you said some of the players in Cloud9 were tilters, let me ask you this straight up: is Bone7 a tilter?
He is and he isn't. Like the thing of like, I mean, at the end of the day, like everyone is a tilter, like to a certain extent. I mean, and you can say like, oh, Bone, they never won a LAN, blah blah blah, but he still got second place over and over again, and we were still a LAN team. Like we played online, we didn't play very well, all the time, and we had AUI as well, so we had a US West problem. So we didn't do that well online, but when we went to LAN, we made sure to like we pretty much crushed. We even crushed EG into the finals, right?
Yeah.
So and other people were the ones that were choking against us. You can say that instead, like, and everyone, like, people tilt in pubs. Have you seen pubs? Like,
Sure.
People like to just say things. It's like, oh, it's a second place. It's a meme. Everyone like, holy shit, second place, tilters. But like to call Bone and a lot of other players like tilters wouldn't exactly be fair because there's a lot of players that are tilters. Like
Okay, well, let's put it the other way. If I was to phrase it the other way, I'd say that there aren't many players who are like all-time great champions who win every time they're in the final.
Yeah.
If you do that, you're usually like the best player ever or something. It's true, a lot of players make some finals, maybe they win a couple, they lose a bunch. That's fair, but like you kind of said, Bone 7 doesn't win. He's just made tons of finals, which means he's very good because he's always getting to the finals, but there's a reason he doesn't win them, right?
Yeah, that is true. But it might be. It's kind of unfair to say because unlike like StarCraft or a lot of other games, this is not a 1-1 game.
Sure.
This is a 5-person game, so a lot of tilting can be done because of your teammates. Like, let's say someone doesn't play a certain like for me, like it was very hard sometimes in my career to play carry, especially TI like before TI4 or TI4 itself, where I had to kind of think of a way to play, like or just play really weird to play the way I want, and I mean to play the way I need it, and at the same time also have to take control of my team. And this is only for personal experience, but like there are players that play extremely bad, and the team just disbands right there.
Sure.
Like like let's say your teammates doesn't play well, and they don't play the way you want, then you just start arguing, you start disbanding right away, and you start playing. Everyone starts playing really bad. But Bone, like he reacted to the way his team was playing, and he tried to make it work. And these sort of things can really affect you. Like you might start thinking about like, why is my team doing this? Why is this happening? So it's like a team. It's more of a team thing. It's kind of unfair. Like he's only played on, like C9, right? That's his only real big team, and he was pretty successful in his team. So to say he's a tilter it's kind of wrong until.
Okay, but he tilts in finals.
Sometimes.
Do you remember a game? Listen, I don't want to make.
I have played way too many finals of him.
Sure.
Like,
okay.
He has destroyed. Like TI4, he was. Like, he actually made so many calls and he went crazy. Like he was like screaming and like making so many good calls, and like just trying to dictate. And that was the finals. So I mean, not finals. Okay. I mean, that was like in front of the TI stage. But yeah, for most finals, I haven't seen him do that. But there has been like one, like or something like that.
I mean, I'm not going to harp on this for a long time, but just here's one that I remember. Okay,
it's a good topic. Like I don't mind discussing this.
Sure. Okay, so there was a final. I think it was a final where he played off-lane Legion Commander, and he just like fed kills all the time for like the first 5-6 minutes. He was just stacking TPs and basically like almost single-handedly like the game was over already. It's like you're like not even 10 minutes into the game.
I don't think that ever happened.
Okay, well like, maybe I imagined that.
No, it happened, but I don't think that's probably not why we lost.
Okay, sure, that might be an exaggeration.
Because there's no fight where
So let me ask you this then: what happens to a player like that? Then what happens to Bone 7? Is there something about his personality? Is there something about the dynamic of the team that he was in? Why do these problems happen? Do you think? What's your theory?
The thing with Bone is like he's an emo dude, who lived in a harsh life. So he's extremely smart. I consider him one of the smartest players I ever played with ever, and he's has a very strong personality, and he has he's a I don't know, like those weird people in high school or like whatever, and like you think like these guys are like big pussies, they don't have much friends, they don't they don't talk to much people, and they get nervous in front of like a crowd and stuff, but you'll be surprised to what they can do when the situation gets really dire. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, like, Bone is just, like, he's not this chill dude who's just, like, he just has, like, a lot of friends and he can, like, socialize with people, like, in a non-weird way and stuff. So, like, he has his moments where he's, like, a super big man and he goes, like, he, like, mans up and, like, he'll take charge and do stuff. But at the same time, he's also unstable in that sense because he's not used to some situations that make him uncomfortable. But he's right now he's like the leader of his team, like Kaipi, and like they're doing okay. Like and I don't know.
Okay, so here's the thing. There was a period in time when, I mean, you just said there he's a really smart player. There's a period in time when he took over being the drafter in C9, and you actually said, I think you said something along the lines of like, your theory on it was like that his position would be like better for doing the drafting anyway, and that you thought that like carries, at least you as a carry, you tunnel vision too much on farming, and so it's hard to like know what's going on around the map to carry. What are these two sides like? Was Bone a good drafter, and was it the right decision to give up being the drafter yourself?
I think I was just very let's see. I didn't really I was too harsh on myself. And I was too quick to judge because I played the summit tournament where we lost. Like every game was over in like 10 minutes to secret or something, or 15 minutes. Like every game was just ending all the time. And every team was like 2-0ing each other. Like they would just understand the early game a little bit better than the other team, and they would just 2-0 them right away. And I think I had this like I didn't really know what was really happening, why teams were losing so fast, especially when I was playing. And we had this idea that maybe it's because I'm stuck in my lane. And people, at the early game, the carry stays in his lane. And everyone else starts moving around. Maybe not the mid player, but the other 3 players move around. And then the game is over, and I'm just sitting there with my carry. I'll get last hits or whatever. It doesn't matter. The game is just over. So we had a feeling that the patch did not favor towards carry player, because the games are just too fast for the carry. But this is true for that tournament. But at the end of the day, like Dota just advances too fast, and towards TI, like games were going late again, and things were changing again. So yeah, I was a little too quick to quit my position and stuff. But at MDL, like Bone, went. Like I think everyone on the team believes in Bone, to a very strong degree, and like even Notel was like if we want to win TI, we need to play. We have to understand what Bone is thinking and play it Bone style. And we need to get on his level. That's what Notel has said. Because Bone has these interesting ideas about item choices and how to play the game, how to get towers, and how to win the early game. And he was very correct. It just so happens that his way, we were pretty stuck in a position because our players wouldn't play certain heroes properly, and they kind of refused to buy the right items. So we had it was kind of rough. There was a lot of cancer on that team, and a lot of strong personalities on that team, and because of it all, it was very hard for him to deal with all the pressure, especially because he was a new captain. He was still pretty new, a month, maybe 2 months, and then he went into TI, the biggest prize money, whatever, and he didn't work well. I regret not stepping up to be the captain though during TI, midway.
What do you think would have been different in the drafting if you'd have been captain for TI5 rather?
I would have picked FATA heroes that I thought he can't play. And I would be like, you can play them. There's no way there's no way you can't play these stupid heroes. And I would start picking heroes that I don't feel like people can play. And I will say, you can fucking play them. There's no way. Cause there's a lot of there was a lot of lack of faith in certain players playing some heroes and stuff like that. And certain playstyles, but I would not agree with that shit, and I would just pick.
So you were talking about FATA there. Now, obviously, he's someone who had his difficulties at that tournament. You said on your Ask FM, I realise on Ask FM, it's not an official interview. You can answer very quickly and maybe in a flippant manner. But someone asked you about FATA, and you literally just said, he became a really shit player and teammate, but I have lots of faith in him. Maybe in the future, not right now. What does that actually mean? How did he become a shit player and teammate?
It's just, I really want to go over this properly because... there are a lot of players that are very stable in a sense, but they're stable shit players, And there are some players that are stable good, but those are rare. And there are these players that are more they can change a bit more, and they're not really the same person all the time. They have more emotions when they play, and that can be bad and that can be really good.
So what type of player was he then?
I mean, he was an emotional type, and so was everyone else on the team except Misery. Misery is the only chill, stable dude on that C9 team, and on the old C9 team was Sing, and the other 4 would not be. But I don't know. He entered a team, and he had like he crushed like so hard. Like he learned from me, especially. He had a lot of respect for me, and he would pretty much just believe in everything I say, like to a certain extent. Like, but he still had his own like like he was still confident. So if I said something that he did not like, he can overrule me. Like he can say things that I agree with, and he'll fucking have full faith in it. But afterwards, like after DreamHack, he started like picking up CS:GO, and then DreamHack was like the worst tournament I ever played in my entire life. Where I like my teammates were like fucking watching CS:GO while I was drafting the finals, like 3 of them at least. And I was like, all right. And then everyone was like playing CS:GO during the tournament and stuff like that. And like after that, like no one really cared about DreamHack because we were going to the summit and like I don't know, we just played way too many lands in a row, and like the faith and the I'm not sure what's a good word. Like just people weren't trying as hard anymore, and it kind of snowballed from there. It was like there was a kick and stuff, and then he had this thing going with Misery where like he didn't really like he liked Misery as a player, but he had some problems with Misery in the past on Dog or whatever, or Team Dog or Team Moz, and the Misery will kind of stay the same. So when FATA sees these things, he kind of tilts himself. He's like, oh my god, we just got Misery, and he's like the same dude. I don't like this, and he saw a lot of flaws in other players, and yeah, that kind of just the team just kind of snowballed from there. And when things don't go like when you're not confident, like you're more subject to just doing things like to prove your points, So let's say if someone says this item build is not good, and that guy's gonna play like 5 pubs and do the same item build 5 times in a row, and try to like prove that it's good or something like that. And like there's like these people headbutting each other, and with all these things combined, he just became more stubborn, more stuck up, and to a point where it became way too hard for me to control him. Like I would have to like scream at him like 10 million times, and then even then like he would do what I'm saying, but it wouldn't be fast enough. It would be always a few seconds slow, because he didn't want to just listen to me anymore. He wanted to understand his own Dota, and it was hard, especially late game.
So okay, the guy who used to be the mid player for Cloud9 was Sing before that, and if you're talking about stubborn players, I've seen you describe this guy. Like it sounds like on all his skills, you're really complimentary, like great mechanics, spellcasting, blah 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 blah. But on all the other aspects, it sounds like you don't have such a good opinion of him. Like you think he's too stubborn, has too big an ego, won't learn from people, like doesn't understand which picks he should use. How did you play with the guy for so long and have good results if all these problems were there?
Well, you have to. Like, I talked about this before, where I said if people don't play the certain way that you want them to play, then you either die with them, like you just go cancer mode, and like if they don't play well, you're not gonna play well either. You have arguments, you blah 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 blah. But I did have these arguments, but then I played with them for a long time. I played with them for a year and a half or something, or a year and a few months, a very very long time, and it was right when Pi so I captained and it didn't work out, and then Pi captained, it didn't work out. I mean it worked out, but like not enough. And I became captain again. And then by that point it was like April, and I played him for like already like 9 months or 10 months. And I was like, alright, I need to I actually I had a talk with the team actually, and like about Sing, and I said, guys, like we can't just try to change things when they cannot be changed anymore. Like there are skills that Sing has, and there are skills he doesn't have, and you have to accept that, and you have to play to the strength of the team. We can't like scapegoat, we can't whine, we can't fucking do shit, just fucking play. And we had to like play a way that made him strong, because he was a higher MMR player who had good mechanical skills, and he was also like everyone chokes, and so does he, but he was still fairly stable if you make him work, if you make the game his way, and he'll rape if he plays his way. So we got him some meeples, got him some just pick heroes that he can play, and try to work the game around that. I had to I didn't really know this back then, but I had to kill creep waves when I'm scared.
What do you mean you didn't know that?
like no, I didn't know this like by logic. I just knew it in game.
Okay.
But I never formulated it into an idea. Where because there were some heroes that I played that didn't work at all. The more greedy, and so and I didn't really understand why. I was like I was stubborn. I was like, why the fuck is this hero not working? It's a good hero, and I argued with my teammates. Like, this hero's good, and that hero was good, but I could not play it on that team because the team just doesn't function that way, and that's how teams are. Every team has their own shit, and on that team I had to, like, if the whole map is black, like Sing has like stable vision, like so he'll know when he's dying, if the game is not going crazy. And he keeps a close touch on the minimap, and he thinks about the minimap a lot. But he doesn't really have an epic way of like figuring out where people are if the game goes way too crazy, and if the game feels really bad. So I would have to try to like keep going with my pushing, like keep going with killing creeps and stuff. Whenever the game gets way too dark, and that would open up space because people would try to gank me, and usually they would fail. And that would kind of show Sing Sing where they are. And then AUI and Sing would farm because they both farm, and so it kind of just worked out better. We just picked Sing heroes I can carry with, and then yeah, it's fine.
When you guys won that famous MLG way back in 2013, it was actually November, so it was like almost 2 years ago now. When you won that tournament, and everyone knows the storyline of like all the problems you had on day one, and then getting it together and doing all these crazy picks and stuff. You individually, was that like one of the best tournaments you ever played? Were you in like God mode in some of those games?
Oh, I don't think so. I think MLG I just play normal, like normal okay. And going to the finals actually like game 1 I choked pretty hard for the first 10 minutes, and then I carried with my calls and stuff. And in game 2 and game 3 I was just playing okay, but like I kind of just played a hero that only I knew how to play to that extent. And like we won just through picks, honestly. Game 2 and game 3. Our TC played super bad in the finals. I think. I think everyone like didn't play. Like we played good and bad, but usually bad. But it worked out anyway. That's how I feel about the finals, because the enemy wasn't playing that good either. I mean, it's just finals, right? So we have like 10 players tilting at the same time, and then they can't win against the Clinks.
Okay, so after that tournament was when you made this statement that I still think is quite an interesting statement to this day, where you said that Pieliedie is the best player in the world. Why did you say that?
Yeah, he was. Well, he had this idea of showing, like, it's an idea where, okay, let's say you're trying to get a kill on someone, and you want to gank him with 2 heroes, right? Back then, like in pubs, what happens is, let's say you want to gank your anti-mage, you would gank him with 5 heroes, and you would smoke all 5 heroes to kill him, and that would never fucking work. But he had this idea where, like, let's say you want to gank him with 2 heroes. So what happens when you gank him with 2 heroes is the other 3 heroes are scared on your team because you're missing 2 heroes. So those heroes might place like there's 5 heroes ganking. Like they might all be farming neutrals, and because they're scared of farming lanes. And then their other 2 heroes won't get that kill anymore because on the minimap the enemy sees 5 heroes missing. So he had this idea of showing where if he wants to gank someone with 2 heroes, he wants all the other 3 heroes to do things that make the enemy not think the other 2 heroes are ganking. Do you get it? Like,
yeah, he like tricked them into thinking it's not a gank.
Yeah. So, yeah. So he kept going for these ganks, and he kept telling us like, "Arteezy, show like hit mid creeps." And then right now is like pretty common sense in pro games.
He was the first to kind of innovate it. Do you think?
He was the first to. It was kind of done before, but it wasn't not to the same extent that he did it. And he also had this idea of hitting the enemy mid hero. Like he would just go mid and just start hitting them, and like this was never done before. Like people would just straight up dueling there and whatever, but he would go mid and hit you, and he wouldn't take experience from the other mid hero, so he would just kind of just fuck you over, and then his teammate still gets all the experience. In pubs, what happens is people come to your lane, they take all your experience, and then like they don't really do enough, and then it feels awful. But he stays level 1. He doesn't care. He hits you. He forces rotations. He forces movements from the enemy, and like he understood how to do that the best. Right now is kind of common as well. But yeah, he had a good understanding of the game. He had a really good micro, and he was our drafter as well, right? Yeah, so like, he was a sick player.
So the team that you beat in the final at that tournament was DK, and it was actually the first big tournament, if I remember correctly, where they had that new lineup, the one that then, like, basically like 2 months later became like the best team in the world and was winning all those lands, dominating China and everyone. What did you? What was that team already really good at that point in time? And you just said there they weren't even playing very well versus you in the MLG final. What was that team like, the DK team?
I mean, they were the best team in that tournament. That's like the game is based around strategy and a lot of other things. And back then, Pi was monster, and I mean we had clinks and stuff, and our mid player was playing a different as well. So they just couldn't. I mean, we just had a good meta advantage, I guess. And we also had this Midas shit that we had going for us, where we just kept buying Midases. But that didn't really matter in the finals, though. We didn't do that in the finals. But in the finals, like, it wasn't really much. Like, we played game 1, and then we lost. It was an epic game. Like, we played good. They played good after the first 10 minutes. And in game 2 and game 3, we had a clinks. And game 2, we just smashed them. We played good game 2, really good. And we just smashed them, and we had better picks. And in game 3, like, it was a final game, you know, it was a do or die game, and like I don't think anyone was playing particularly well, but they still couldn't deal with the clinks at all. Like they were just all hiding and farming S5, and then we had this mid player who buys a Midas, and he hits neutrals, and he farms really really fast, and I'm just running around the map with my own Midas, and I'm just farming and trying to scaring them, and they're always 5, and we just out farmed them with Midases. We had like probably like 3 Midases actually, and slowly and surely they're just gonna lose.
Why do you think DK became so good? We're winning all those tournaments, and then they never did it at TI4. They just kind of they fell apart, you know.
I think DK was, I mean, they were pretty overrated. They didn't do bad in TI. They got 4th place, and they lost to the 2nd place team, right? No, they lost to they lost to the 2nd place team. They lost to Vichy. They were never like super like gods of the game. It like I think what happened that year was Vichy came along and they were pretty disgusting. They owned everyone, and then DK owned for a bit, and then they won WPC Ace against IG 4-3. Whereas IG beat them first. Like I mean IG like 3-0 them or something, and then DK 3-0 them, and DK had a 4-0 comeback.
Yeah, I think so.
So if that was so like IG was, you know, they were in the finals. They were pretty strong, and then DK won anyway. And then they went to Starladder and they won Starladder as well. But since then they haven't won anything. They went to Beyond Summit and they lost to EG in the finals. I mean they're still really strong. They got 2nd place. But then afterwards it was actually the year of IG. IG went to WPC. They won WPC, and then they won against Newbie in some tournament. Newbie won some tournament too, but then they won against Newbie twice in the tournament. They won against DK twice in an online tournament. So they actually won and then they won ESL. So they actually won, I think 3 lands or something like that, and like 3 online tournaments in the span of like 2 months or something, or like 2-3 months. And DK wasn't winning. It was like IG was the best team going to TI for sure. EG was the 2nd best team, and then Newbie and DK were behind them. That's how. So
why didn't IG win then? Why didn't IG win?
Yeah, I mean that was actually the confusing factor, because there's all these blogs or whatever saying like, oh, most disappointing team was DK, but no, most disappointing team was fucking IG. I don't know. They got 8th place. That actually confused me really hard. I thought IG would win that tournament. They were smashing everything, and the other confusing thing was Vichy all of a sudden came back.
I saw a comment where someone asked you what you think of Ferrari 430's playing style, and you said it's extremely outdated.
Yeah.
Like, when did it become outdated? What's wrong with this playing style?
I got it like last year. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of mid players that's in the past that they play too safe. It's not about safe. It's just their understanding of the game makes them think that things are dangerous when it isn't. And they don't play with the understanding that they think like they're not the tank. Basically, they just want to kill things and do the most DPS on the team in a fight. Whereas you can do a lot more than that. You can actually die. Like, you can just jump in and die, and that can win you the game more so than you standing back and using all your spells properly, like in different situations. Not sure if that makes any sense, because like when you jump in, let's say you're a clockwork and you hook in and you rocket, that gives so much fucking vision, and it simplifies the way to play the game. Whereas if you're always the one standing back, when you're like really tanky, when you're a really tanky hero, or when you have other heroes that can do damage, and like you never take that first step forward to bait the enemy in, then like that can really change a lot of things. Like for example, Sumo, like with the Storm Spirit at the DSC finals, he would jump in, and it would zip a few times with Storm Spirit, and then it would kind of make the enemy follow the storm, and then at one point they would be clumped as 5, and then PBD would get a 5-man Earthshaker ulti, or something like that. And that's why Arteezy kind of does the same with the Shadow Fiend and stuff. They would kind of go in dangerously, or you think it's dangerous, but like he just gets graved or something, and like he just makes things happen more often. He doesn't just do things that are 100% gonna work.
So obviously you played in a lot of finals with Cloud9. When you look back now, like aside from the NA component, you played a lot of teams in finals. You played Na'Vi, you played Alliance, you played EG. Was EG always like the rival to you? Were they the team you really wanted to beat?
Yeah, they're definitely our rival. Like post TI4, because we played them in like 2-3 finals. We did beat them at the summit though, but that wasn't the finals. But yeah, I definitely consider them our rivals, especially because I feel like my playstyle and Arteezy's playstyle is very similar, and we always copy things from each other. Like we watch each other's replays and we try to learn from each other all the time. And he was also a carry, like he was mid, but he was also he was playing carry. Let's be honest here. And I don't know, I have a lot of respect for him. He had a lot of respect for me, so I always consider him my rival, and I still do.
So when you say that, like, even if he was playing mid, let's face it, he was the carry. I actually saw in an old interview that you actually said that you don't like the idea of the 1 to 5 positions, the numbered positions, the idea that like this is the carry, this is the support. And like you said, even if the farm ends up going that way, that shouldn't be the way people think of Dota. Like you can obviously have a different player carry the whole game and his champion can be the one that's going to be the carry. Do you still think that way? Was that just a random thing you said?
I still think that way, but my approach to the game is no longer as idealistic as it was before. I kind of simplified a lot of things, and like to make things work, sometimes you just can't do that. Like you have to kind of fit how to make your team play comfortable, because it is a 5-man game and it's very complicated. Like Arteezy kind of needs to play the farming thing, and I don't feel like he can probably play the pucks and stuff and like Beastmasters and stuff, but he would have to win a tournament first again with a carry story play, so that he's comfortable, like, leaving that role and playing something else. But yeah, I don't really like that idea, but it's what works, honestly.
Ignoring all accomplishments, just looking at pure play, has there ever been a time in the last couple of years, even for a month for a tournament, where you thought EternaLEnVy's better than Arteezy?
I mean, yeah, I thought that way a few times, but like, that's kind of rough to say though, because this game, like, you can make one mistake and someone else who might be an inferior player to you might not make that mistake, and that one mistake can make you say, okay, I could have played better than him this game. So it's kind of really weird to say. Like, I mean, there was at the beginning he played terribly and I played terribly, and I thought my terrible was better than his, and it was, and like, I don't know, he refused to copy me for like a week or two. But like, it doesn't really make any sense, like, because to be a better player, it's not like you're both playing like Zerg or something. You're both using op, and it's like, oh, who's a better opper? Like,
okay,
like you play the hero, and like you play Dota, you play your position, but then your hero might change, and you might play different heroes better than the other player, and like your team might be different. So it's kind of really hard to say.
What was the best period in time for you? When you were at your peak of power? I mean, was when you were like at the Naga patch?
Yeah, it was definitely a terribly where I was like Naga terribly and Anti-Mage. And there was Tinker as well. Yeah, I played Tinker as well, and I played Lycan. Like that was my peak when we got this multiple second places. But I don't know though, like, cause I didn't really perform that well in the finals, and there were some times where I didn't perform very well. Like, it's hard to say, like, what peak means. I don't even think I'll reach my peak. Like, I feel like I've been improving slowly. Like, okay. I mean, not slowly. I've been improving very quick for a very long time now, and I feel like I'm still improving. So It's kind of weird to see it.
Because actually, tying into what you said there, that's actually a comment you made in the same interview when you were talking about that idea that maybe the 1 to 5 positions is like an old idea. You said that it originally comes from China, where the idea was they just wanted to get some like anti-mage, some Drow Ranger, Medusa. They wanted that carry to be super farmed up, and then that was what was going to carry the whole game, you know. Does that still apply now? Like, for example, if what you're saying here, say you have a carry player who's really good, but the meta changes, so his champions aren't really the ones that he's going to be super good on. Should you have a different player get super farmed up?
Yeah, I mean, it's already changed. Like right now, the mid player gets more farmed than the 1 player. I mean, people call him the 1 player, but because what happened in the past was the 1 player was basically just the most farmed player. He was not the carry player; he was just the most farmed player.
Okay.
Which was the carry, right? That's how the logic went. Like 1 to 5 is basically like how much farm each player gets.
Sure.
So right now the mid player is 1. Like the mid player always has more farm than the other players. But he starts out the game, he gets a bounty rune that's already plus 100. He gets plus 1 half a level over everyone else. Then he gets this lane where he gets most of the levels, and then people stack for him. The carry doesn't get many stacks usually. So like the mid player, and he has all like these spells that kill steal, so he ends up getting a lot of kills. So yeah, I mean there's these Shadow Fiends, these Leonons and stuff. I mean these guys kind of out farm you. And they're called 2, but they're actually they're not 2. They're 1. I'm 2. I'm sad.
What made it so hard to play against EG when you were in all those finals and all those big matches with them, and they would always come back somehow and beat you?
I mean,
what quality did they have over you?
They had a better way of adapting. I guess like I had this idea that like what's the best picks are the best picks, but no, it's not always true. Like you can kind of pick in a you also have to like pick in a way that makes sure like maybe the enemy isn't good against certain picks, and maybe your team plays better with certain picks, whereas I kind of just looked more into what picks are good. I don't know, just I didn't really get exactly outdrafted by them though in many of the tournaments. It's just that the team was tilting. I was tilting sometimes against EG. I never really tilted though, except for WC. Against other teams I've tilted, but the team was tilted and we just played worse. There's a better team, honestly.
So, when they had that EG lineup in 2014 that was RTZ, and everyone saw he was like the star player and he was super good and they were winning all these tournaments, they were placing very highly, and then afterwards he went over to play in secret, and then people said he's like the best player in the world. You've said he was the best player in the world. In fact, I think you made some sort of statement like he's the best carry Dota's ever seen and maybe ever will, or some like super grandiose statement.
I would never say that. I would never say maybe ever will. Alright, go fuck that. I refuse. But he's definitely the best player.
No, here's the quote. You said, "I think Arteezy is the best carry to ever exist in all of Dota. He's never been this good." That was like recently as well. That was like a few months ago.
That's true, but I never. No one will ever be
okay, fair enough. I might have misremembered that. That sounded like something you might say is a crazy statement. Okay, so here's my question. Already he was clearly very good in 2014 in EG. How could he get better? In what way did he get better from EG to Secret?
I think... Let's see here. Well, he started playing a lot of Dota. Like an insane amount of Dota, to the point where his hands started hurting. Like he played the most of anyone, I think. There was some stuff he was missing. He didn't do many picks, or I mean, he's actually pretty good at picks too. But he wasn't really focusing too much on that. But he played so much Dota, and he woke up, at these LANs. He would go to these LAN centers alone, and play alone. His team isn't with him. He was playing a lot of Dota. He was very, very motivated, and his team believed in him. Like his team thought he was the best player, and in an environment like that, like he just excelled. And he was playing carry. He was having a lot of farm. He had really good farming patterns. He put a lot of pressure on the enemy when he farms. Like there are players that farm very safe, and farm in patterns that give you the most farm, but doesn't give you the best chance of winning. Whereas he generally, I was impressed because he always farmed in a way that gave his team a better chance of winning, and he also wasn't scared to bait. Like to run in and die, and like run in and like almost die. Generally, it's like the idea is to almost die and like bait the enemy team into a position. And then he always had like a dazzle on his team, so he just kept getting graved, and like he was like 1 HP and he kept killing everyone. And he had he was scary because he played a lot of Dota, so he could play all these meta heroes. He can play Bloodseeker. He can play whatever was sort of necessary for him to win, except Phantom Lancer for some reason. He couldn't play that.
What do you think of his performance at this last TI?
Um, I kind of like it wasn't that good in the towards the end, but like the thing is, this game is like it's so you're not gonna play good. Like, cause Secret was out drafting everyone, you know. He out drafted everyone, and then Ortiz excelled in a position where he was practiced very well practiced on every hero he played. His team drafted for him these comfortable heroes, and his team played around them, and his team believed in him, and he believed in himself. And under all these circumstances, like, you're able to play. But when you play TI, and all of a sudden you're not used to this environment of pressure, and your team is also super tilting, and there's a lot of toxic on the team, and they were unable to outdraft the enemy anymore. Like, they just, like, he played pretty bad. Like, not the last game, but it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't the same. But still, it's kind of whatever. Like, you don't really go over play when it came to how they lost, especially Ortiz's play, because he played decent enough.
He
like,
played
generally,
okay, yeah.
it's more about the strategy and how to make your team play good. Like, how do you make them play good in the first place? Because, like, yeah, you can say, oh, they played bad. Like, let's say we played a game, and like, let's say so we played the finals, right, against EG just now, and in game 2 we played fucking awful. Me and Puppy played well, but the other 3 people played really, really fucking bad, and they were like dying over the map and like just making really weird plays that was not teamwork oriented at all. And it's like, all right, after that game we can say, "Weehaw, stop dying," or like whatever, you know, or like, but like whatever, who cares? You just have to make them play good. And all we needed in that game, we were lacking stuns or something. So game 4, game 5, we just picked like a game 3, game 4. We just picked the more stable lineup, and we picked heroes that are more suitable. And then they just played good. Like, that's it. Like, you don't have to harp on bad play or think about, oh, who played bad, who played good. You know, oh, what do we do now, guys? Like, no, fuck that. Just make them play good by picking heroes that make them play good. It's and they'll play good.
When you came to this lineup where AUI got kicked, removed, whatever, and you brought in No Tail, you brought in Misery, what was the thinking when you brought them into lineup? Like, what did you imagine would happen? Do you really think like this lineup's going to win TI next year if we do this?
I mean, I always think that way when I join any team, right? It's always I feel like it's always a mentality you should have. But on that team, like, I mean, I feel like the amount of experience I've gained because of the last team and because of this team, like, I already have like 2x the amount of experience I had last year. That's how I feel. And like back then, there's a lot of things I didn't really look into, whereas now is very different. Like, I don't know, or like I would have went. Like, I feel like with the same roster last year, if I went around about the team in a different way, the team would be very strong. Like, you can win with that team. Like, win tournaments.
What should you have done differently?
I mean, I definitely should have captained right away. Like, I've always tried to give away this captain role. I don't like it. I just despise it. It like eats your time, and I already spent a lot of time playing and stuff, so it eats away all my time. And you know, I haven't really won tournaments like that. At least, I mean, I did, but like not as much as I want. I want to win way more than that. So like, I didn't feel like it was my role like to be captain. And like, I always tried to make other people captain. But at the end of the day, I always regret it because every time I make someone else captain, I become captain like a week or 2 weeks later. Like, that's what usually happens. I tried it with FATA. He joined a team. I made him captain, and I captained afterwards. And then No-Tail joined. I made No-Tail the captain. And then after like a week or 2, I was like, all right, I'm back, guys. Like, I wish I went about it better, and I talked to people better and try to really understand what it meant. And I wish I went about things in a less idealistic approach. I started doing that towards the end, but like, I should have done it from the very beginning. Like stop things from getting out of hand. Like, it's kind of weird because like I kind of have to stop like believing in people thinking certain ways, and like I would have to talk to them in a better way, in a less blunt way, in a less honest way, and just leaving things that I want to say for later when there's a better atmosphere, when you get, eat dinner and then you talk about it. instead of talking about it when in a more stressful environment. And just I wish I need to do things like that, and so the team would be more calm and people wouldn't argue with each other as much, and people would just like each other more and believe in each other more.
So when you were talking about Misery, you said this. You said he's like a really natural talent for the game, and he can't always explain what he does in the game, but he's really good, and he has like a good in-game understanding, but not like next level. And then here's the interesting part. You said, but he has a massive weakness in that he doesn't empower teammates to play better. Can you think of like an example of that, or what made you think of that?
I mean, it's not really an example. Like I mean, back then he would just not play many pubs. And he would just say things that, and it's true, you know, he plays good. He doesn't need to play pubs. He actually doesn't. But when you say things like that, it makes your team not play pubs either. It just
So it just wasn't a positive attitude.
It wasn't negative. It wasn't like he was yelling. It's not like, oh, I'm Birdie. He wasn't doing that. He just a dude playing Dota, and he just like not playing much Dota, but he's doing good. And then like people just saw it, and then you know, like some people like Bone and FATA especially. And even me, like we all play a lot of Dota, and we all stress over the game, and he doesn't. He's just kind of chill, and like you know, there's just people bashing heads, and like every team's gonna have differences. It's just back then I didn't really try to like mend these differences. I didn't really see it as much as I do now. I felt it, but it wasn't. I didn't really like exactly run and try to fix it right away. Yeah. You just have to try to understand.
So when it was 2014, even though you guys had this rivalry with EG where they were winning the titles, it was always quite back and forwards. Like you'd often like beat them first in the tournament, then they'd beat you in the final. You know, it was a back and forth rivalry. When Arteezy went over to Secret, though, they were beating you, but they had like a way better record against you. They were like beating like nearly all the time. What was so difficult about playing Secret for your Cloud9 team?
I mean, they were just. I mean, come on now, like they beat every team. So
I beat your team a lot, though.
I mean, they beat every team a lot. They beat whatever team they played.
Sure.
They're just hard to beat because they're Secret. Like, I don't know what to say about that. Really, if anything, like Secret was most like afraid of us. But I mean, we started losing to them online too much, so they stopped caring about us too. But then, because at first we played them at DSC, and we smashed them game 1, and game 2 we smashed them as well. But then we threw that game, and it was like pretty well known as the biggest throw or whatever. And so we actually should have 2-0'd them there. And at MDL we almost beat them as well. We lost 2-0, but then it was like really throwy as well. So I don't know, but like who cares? Like at the end of the day, like Secret beats everyone.
Okay. So since everyone knows you have this huge will they won't they bromance with Arteezy, people have always speculated, oh, will they ever play together? And you actually said that if AUI didn't get kicked from EG, you'd be playing with Arteezy right now, correct?
Sure. Maybe not, but I'm pretty sure it would happen.
And who would play what position? Where would you be?
I feel like Arteezy would like to play with Puppy, and then I feel like he wants to play with me as well, but he doesn't want to play with some players I want to play with. Like if Puppy wants to play with me as well, then like it would just happen. I would play one, he'll play mid. I mean, that's stupid. I'll play safe lane, he'll play mid.
Okay.
And maybe we'll switch every now and then, but like, I feel like it wouldn't work unless I play hard carry. Like if there's anti-mage and stuff, I should be playing it, not him. That's how I feel.
So what would his style be?
He would have to change.
What type of player should he change into, if you could give an example?
I mean, he would still play Shadowfiend and stuff and stay around the same. But every now and then he'll probably play like a Beastmaster.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't do that though for a long time, like, cause that stuff takes time. Like, at first we would probably not play any of those heroes. We would just play what we play now. Like right now on this team, like we have plays carry mid, and I play carry, and like both of us just play carry. Like it's fine.
So here's the thing. I think one of the reasons why people find it interesting that you two are best buds and whatnot, but you never play together, except for that one LAN, is the fact that you've made these statements.
We played before our LAN for a long time.
Okay, sure, but I mean in these top teams. Yeah, once you're both in these top teams, though, I mean, like in theory, now is when people would think you would team up. But I've seen you make these comments in interviews and in blogs, etc. That you had some weird mentality where it's like you don't want to you want to win TI, but it can't be with players who've already won TI because then it'll feel like maybe you rode their coattails or whatever. Is that do you really still think that to this day?
I still think that to this day, but I can't do it anymore. Like so, I had a lot of chances to join EG, or I definitely could have joined EG. I think at least 3 times.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 3 times. And I chose not to do that because I didn't want to play with a team that already won. I mean, I feel like I was wrong about this because if I join a team and I play well, then people will still think I'm good.
Sure.
But it's just, I don't know. I had this thing going on where when you watch anime and stuff, there's this the anime is almost the new guys, and they step up and they win. And I did that already. I did that with No Tidehunter, and I did that at MLG. And I like the feeling like I don't want to just join a team and just be like meh, but still win, because the team is good. I didn't really want to do that. I wanted something to beat. Like I want to look at EG and I want to beat them. I don't want to just I can't beat them, guys. I'm gonna join them, and then now we can't be beaten. Like I don't want to be feeling that way. Of course, it's not true. Like you're always gonna Dota's always very hard, even for the best teams. And, but back then I mean even now I still feel that way.
Isn't that kind of a unique position then? I mean, Arteezy literally just went and joined the team that won TI.
Yeah, it's definitely unique, right? Like it's definitely. Like people should not do this. I'm not doing this anymore. And back then, though, there was enough players. I felt like they're strong enough at the game to win TI with that weren't TI winners. But after EG won, like all of a sudden, like there's too many TI winners. Because every year, people that are not TI winners win TI. So now there's like there's too many. Everyone's a TI fucking winner. So like, and the players I want to play with, S4, Puppy, and stuff, like they're all TI winners.
Okay.
So I'm stuck, guys. So I'm like, all right, fuck it.
Okay,
no more restrictions.
So you just said there one of the players you want to play with, and you listed S4. Well, obviously he isn't in your team now. He went back to the Alliance. What if they just kept secret and you just put this lineup, but S4 stayed in? Like what? Like was that ever even an option?
Yeah, it was. S4 would play support. That was one of the bigger options. But then I mean, Arteezy was gone and stuff. So
do you think part of the TI problem was like did S4 have issues? Do you think?
I mean, it's a team, so everyone has issues.
Sure.
But I mean, he didn't play well during TI, and he didn't draft well either, and he was a captain, so it's a pretty big deal. But
does his style of mid play still work?
He's an 8K MMR player. He could definitely play carry. Like he could do it. I think he can't do that in Alliance because Loda can't do that. Can't play his style. But I'm sure he could just play anything. That guy just too smart, too good, but he chokes in a very, very weird way. But he wins tournaments anyways.
What do you mean in a weird way? How does he choke?
Dude, he's like a Bone Summon choker. Like he's actually like him and Bone are so similar. They both choke in ways that make no sense. Like it's so weird, and you never see it coming, and you never feel it coming. Like with other players, like when they choke, or they're having a rough day, it doesn't even have to be a choke. You just sleep wrong one day, you don't get much sleep. People wake you up. And you're not gonna play good, and your team can kind of understand and kind of see it right away, and like just everything you do is like kind of you, but you're just slower. And then with them is just like they do things that are so weird. Like you're like all right, like fucking Bone buys he buys like this completely wrong items. Like he always buys Shiva's Guard on Phoenix every game, and then all of a sudden he just doesn't buy it, and he buys like 3 items. You're like all right, and S4 just has these like super weird deaths, and I don't know. It's true though.
So when you made this new secret lineup, and okay, you've got your boy Pieliedie back, Misery's in the team in a different position, but then you've got this player that in theory has never been an elite player yet. W33. Why pick this guy? Why put all your chips on him to be a carry player?
Okay, before this, I want to go back on what I said before. So how I said like I don't want to join a team that's like winning and stuff.
Sure.
Like right now, let's say I want MLG to win, right?
Yeah.
And like I mean right now like I'm just getting flamed. Like I got carried by Puppy mixed miracles happened. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Like, this is the sort of thing that I didn't want to happen when I joined. I mean when I last year. Like.
Okay, it still feels great to win though. Fuck those comments, right?
No, it didn't feel that good this time. I mean I feel like no, it didn't feel that good. I wasn't that happy with this win. I felt like I didn't play bad. I actually played up to my standards, honestly. Except one game. I actually played like up to my standards, and I did a lot for a draft and stuff. But like, I don't know. It probably has nothing to do with the team and stuff, though. It had more to do with the fact that majors are like these are all practice for majors now. Whereas back then there was no majors, so every win was like a major win. But anyway, yeah, this is the sort of thing that I wanted to avoid. But I mean, this year, I mean, I saw this coming anyway. It's kind of nice because I'm like the ROTK of a team, because that's some guy I really respect. Where you kind of soak up a lot of the flame, and then you can still handle it and play. That guy's legit. But yeah. Anyway, about Weeha.
Yeah, what do you think about him?
We just wanted, like, I believe in players that have AKMMR. I believe in them. If you pick 5 players, AKMMR players, and you put them together, like, you pick 5 of the highest MMR players, the quote-unquote best players, you put them together on a team, they would suck ass. They would be so bad, actually. It wouldn't make any sense. Because they don't understand anything about the game. But, if you take one AKMMR player, and you have people with brains on your team, and you control that retard, like, you'll be fine. And, we had to pick one of these guys. We chose Miracle, but I mean, I don't know who's better between Weeha and Miracle back then. In my head, I didn't choose Miracle because Miracle was better than Weeha. I just chose Miracle because he was new to the scene and it was like more fun, you know, to get someone who's never played before versus someone who's played a decent amount. So yeah, but then I mean, Miracle joined Monkey, so it's alright. Weeha, you're up, dude. I mean, whatever. And he's good, so we picked him. That's it. Really. We can make it better.
Unless I'm mistaken, in the last era of Secret, the one that was going into TI, S4 was doing a lot of the drafting, right?
I mean, you always draft as a team, but yes, he was the clicker.
Does that mean in this era, like, does Poppy have more of a say?
I mean, he has the only say, you can say, because he's the clicker. Like, he's the one who decides.
Sure.
At the end of the day, he has all the say.
And what do you think of playing under someone like that then?
But when it comes to drafting, like, I mean, what do you mean? Like, the clicker always has all the say.
Sure.
And not just Puppy, but he's ownage, like, cause I don't feel scared of telling him what to pick. And this is a very big deal, cause a lot of the times, to why I became captain, or regret not being captain, was because the drafter I had was Pi, whether it would be Pi or Bone, which is the only other 2 drafters I ever had. I would tell them what to pick, and they would just pick it, or like they wouldn't really put much thought into it, or they would just kind of give me the mouse, sort of thing. And then afterwards, I'm like, alright, I'm drafting now. Fuck this, like, or I feel scared of mincing my words. I'll just like say it differently so I don't stress them over or something like that. But with Puppy, I just like whatever. I just tell him my thoughts, tell him some stuff. Talk about Dota, and no matter like whether I'm having a good day or not, or whether he's having a bad day or not, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's up to him, and he will do it. And he will do what needs to be done. And that's something that I'm really happy to have on this team. Like no matter how much shit I tell him, and like what ideas I give him, like he'll not only he'll listen to me a lot, but he'll make them his. He'll make them into his idea himself, and he will make my ideas better, or he will understand my idea. Whereas back then, people would do things I want them to do without really understanding my idea. Like, they just maybe don't have enough experience to handle my ideas. Or maybe whatever. Or just choking. Usually they're just choking, I think. And they would just kind of click on heroes that I want them to pick. Or kind of go crazy on their own. Like, but, yeah.
When you played that tournament, ESL One New York, and you make it to the final, and then you lose to Vega Squadron, was there any part of you that's like, fuck, I'm second place again, it's this shit again?
I mean, of course, like, I'm someone who thinks a lot, so I always consider these things. But, yeah.
What do you think the problem was?
The problem definitely was that I was sleep deprived. So, and I had some TeamSpeak issues, so I didn't do that much in the draft in the last game. So we had a inferior draft. Like, all 3 games were outdrafts in the finals. Like, we beat them with outdraft, they beat us with outdraft, like severe outdraft. We could have won those games though. We played better, but it was like really really hard. And we were very underprepared. We did not expect Vega to win. And then even though Vega won, like we didn't prepare as much as we should have. like after that tournament, I started bringing a notebook again to tournaments. I used to always bring a notebook around. MLG I did as well, even though I wasn't a drafter. But since Bonin started drafting, I stopped bringing this notebook around. But and I'm doing that again after we lost to Vega. I was like, there's no way in hell I don't write ban Shadow Fiend in my notebook if I had one, and we banned that stupid Shadow Fiend.
You thought you were going to face like EG or someone?
I thought we were gonna play IG because
Okay.
EG had lost first round, right?
Yeah, well, to
So-
Vega, yeah. But I mean, you thought
Yeah,
one of these
and then-
teams.
Yeah. But then IG was playing Vega right before we played, and we thought IG would beat Vega, and then we would play like right away. So I did a lot some study on IG, but like I wasn't having a really good. I was having really bad sleep deprived issues, like the classic gamer sleep deprived. You know, like it's US East. I'm US East, but for some reason I'm still sleep deprived because I sleep very late, and you have to wake up very early. So I wasn't used to it. I was like jet lagged, even though I wasn't jet lagged. Like I was like, all right, and then I it was a really shitty hotel, and the room I was living in, like it had like a tunnel, like or whatever, like it kind of like made the noises outside echo into my room, and Artesia was in the room next door, and they lost the same day and the day before, and like every like few hours he would scream or say stupid shit and wake me up, and yeah, it was rough.
Okay, good guy. So at TI5, the biggest surprise was CDEC making the final, and they even won the upper bracket. They beat EG. You've played them twice since then. You played them at these two tournaments. You won to them. You lost to them. After playing them and seeing them at TI, what do you actually make of them? Are they going to be a team that legitimately could win like the next TI or could win these next majors? What do you think?
Let me finish. Oh, wait, one more thing I want to add before.
Okay, go ahead.
This. So I only said things about myself when it came to why we lost ESL. Obviously, like there's a lot of things to be said about everyone, but generally I only look at myself because then it tells me what I can do next tournament to win. Like for example, like I brought a notebook now, and like some sleeping things. Like I'd like switch rooms with someone if I can't sleep in my room, or something like that. But
Okay.
yeah, about CDEC, I mean I still think they play very fucking good Dota. Like it's just too bad they can be like they're so good. I think they're the best. Actually, I still think I've thought they were the best for like months now, and every time I play them, I'm like, all right, these guys are the best. But it's just some stuff with drafts and the way they play that's so obvious that you can kind of play around it sometimes, but it's fucking hard.
If the old EG still existed, the one with AUI, would CDEC be better than them? Would CDEC be better?
I mean, EG lost to CDEC in the
Sure.
upper bracket final 2-0.
Sure.
They won the finals, and they had a severe drafting advantage. They had like 2 heroes the enemy had to ban. It was Techies and Naga. If they played now, like those heroes might not be banned anymore. I think CDEC can win easily, and I mean they can both win. I'm sure they have some new stuff, but yeah, like CDEC, it's not like CDEC never beat them at TI.
Okay.
They did.
So you managed in the final of this MLG to play EG, and you beat them, and it was a best of 5. This must be like, if this was an anime, this is like obviously the great chapter where it all comes together, right? Because the storylines have all met again. It's EG again, it's Artesia, it's PPD, it's all the storylines, and it's a final, and it's best of 5. This must be like the dream final for you, right?
Yeah, it was. So MLG, I saw our bracket, and I was kind of sad because I wanted to. I didn't want to play EG in the semifinals. So right before the game against CDEC, I was like, "Yo, puppy, can we just lose, dude? Please, can you just pick me Lycan?" Because there was this running joke in that tournament that no matter who picks Lycan, they will lose. So I was like, "All right, pick me Lycan, dude. I'm gonna win with Lycan." And we lose. Who cares? Like, because we were pretty confident against MVP. But like, I mean, we didn't 3-2. We wanted to beat CDEC, and I tried pretty damn hard. But it was just a joke. And then when we lost, I was like, sweet. Because I wanted to play a Monkey. They were like the best. They just won the EU qualifiers for a major, and I really wanted to play them because I thought they were the best Europe team, or best or second best, with a Liquid being up there as well. So I was really happy that I got to play them. Then we played EG in the final, so yeah, that was sick. It's beating like EG. They won TI, so if we beat like winning that tournament, if we win Nanyang as well, then we would pretty much conquer every team except for newbie. So it was sweet that we got to play against EG. But had CDEC beat them, that would be very sad because we wouldn't play them to the major.
Do you think that EG changing out AUI, getting Fear, getting RTZ, swapping the positions around, is it going to work out in like 3 months from now? Is there a reason it hasn't worked out so far?
I mean, it did work out. Like they played. It already worked out. They're already the strongest team, or one of the strongest teams. Like they played ESL New York.
Yeah.
Single elim, +3. They lost to the team that won the tournament. Oh well. And then they played ESL. I mean, they played MLG.
Yeah.
And they lost. Like whatever. Like they got to the finals. Like the thing. This is the thing with EG is that they never win any tournament. The single elim ever. They have never won one. They never will. Maybe. Actually, not. No. I'm not gonna say that. But they haven't won one. That's true. They lose every single elim tournament, and the only tournaments they ever win are double elim tournaments.
But all the majors are double elim, so no problem, right?
Yeah, but and they have never lost a double elim tournament to anyone except to Secret in one tournament, only one, in Summit 4. And this is post TI4 though.
Okay, sure.
Before TI4 they lost some stuff. But yeah, that's how their team works. Like they enter this tournament, and they're not the best team going to the tournament, and they lose to Monkey 2-0 because they're not the best team. But they're the best team, like at lands. So then afterwards they come back slowly, and they get a 2-1, close 2-1. They get another close 2-1, and then boom, like they're back, and that's how they work. Like it ended up being a single elim like towards the end. It wasn't exactly a single elim tournament. It was a GSL into single elim.
Yep.
Like how we have to play them again, it will be interesting. Is what I'm saying.
So what do you think allows them to do that in double elim? They just get this. Well, is that okay? Do they have to play someone twice sometimes to be able to beat them?
I think that team just kind of lacks practice against good teams because they're all US West, and Americans, NA just not very good at Dota. They don't have as much top teams as other regions except for C, which has even less. So they don't have much practice, and scrimming against Europe teams is hard because their ping is so high. And like Europeans don't try that hard in scrims, so like you don't really gain much. So you have to play officials, but they don't play officials against Europeans, so they just behind. And they play a tournament and they're behind, so they lose. And then they have a very smart captain, and they have players that have very strong mentalities and experience. So those players aren't gonna falter. And then they have this young guy who just doesn't want to lose to anyone, and he thinks he's hot shit, and he is hot shit. He thinks he's the best, and RTZ is kind of like that as well. So they just play on. They lose, they play on, and if their captain is smart and they talk about their drafts, like they're gonna learn and they're gonna excel, and so they just keep doing it.
So if there's all this mad money in Dota, why don't all the NA teams move to one spot, or why don't the NA teams go and live in Europe for a while, or why none of these ideas? Why does everyone stay spread out?
Because they'll probably fail. That's probably why. Because I mean, for EG, they might do that soon, but if they do, then they already succeeded, so they're gonna do it because they know it works. But for a lot of the other teams, like all these NA teams all disband all the time. So for them to move together, it won't work. And moving together itself is not something that really works. When you like team up, like let's say Secret, we're a team. Like let's say we were to move to Europe, and I were to move Europe with the rest of them, and we just stay there all year long. We would suck ass. Like it would be so cancerous so right away. Like
why?
There's the space you need, and like the environment, like everything just changes. Okay. I feel like this 5-man thing only works when you all live around the same area. Like let's say you're 5 Chinese players and they all live in China, like then like you can kind of do that. Everyone speaks the language, everyone's used to the food. Like everyone's like you can visit their family every now and then. Like everything just it's kind of fine. Like you have 5 Koreans doing that, it's kind of fine.
I'm getting this trend from your answers that for you, it's like comfort is super important to playing well. Like you have to have sleep, you have to have vitamin D, apparently you have to have a good diet, people have to not be annoying you have to have played just enough pubs, just enough scrims, not too many scrims, not too many pubs. Does everything have to be totally right for you to play well?
No, it doesn't. I also talked about how if things don't go well for me, I can adapt to it and play my style,
Okay.
like, or whatever style I need to win. Um, I can be fine, but these things are very necessary, and these are things I need to talk about. Like I need to talk about for my team. It's not. It's because it doesn't matter what's for me, because I'm just one player in 5, and like I am like part of the team. Like I mean, all 5 of us are the team. Like all 5 of us are one person. So, like I have to. I don't know. It's nice to think about these things and I just kind of think about things all the time. So, yeah. But for me individually, I need sleep. But I don't know. I don't really understand myself. Like it's like to some extent because I won MLG and I won DreamHack. At DreamHack, I didn't sleep at all. It was my first LAN. I went to Sweden. Sweden has like no sunlight or something, so my body didn't adjust to the sunlight, and I just never slept. I slept 1 hour a day, and yeah, I just didn't sleep. Like throughout the entire event, I would just be sleeping on the desk, and if it didn't work out, and then I would drink four Cokes, 4 Pepsis actually, before the match. And that was my caffeine because I wasn't really a coffee drinker or anything like that, and I was fine. That was the best Chrome I ever played actually. And then I played MLG, and I also didn't get much sleep because there was some incident with Sing Sing and Pieliedie, and they were my roommates, so I was really worried about them. So I did a lot of stuff to try to figure out what's happening and try to help them out. So I didn't get much sleep either, but we won that tournament. So I don't know. But it's something I don't really leave it up to chance because I know that if I sleep well, I will always play good. But if I don't sleep well, then there are a lot of other things I have to think of that might happen, whether I play well or good. If I don't sleep well, I kind of just have to pray that that's my day, that I can recover with just caffeine and Red Bull or something like that. But sometimes I can't.
So after TI5, some people were like, wow, Sumail's the best player in the world. If you have Sumail and Arteezy on the same team, who do you think in the end on that team will be the best player on EG?
Oh, that's such a cancerous and stupid statement. Honestly, like it's like, it's like PPD's
Why
the
is
best
it?
on that team. Like,
Is
that's
he?
how I feel. Like,
He's the smartest player.
I mean, he's the smartest player in his own way. Like, I don't even know if he's the smartest player. Like, it's a team.
Okay.
Like, all 5 players are one team, or it's one player. That's how I see it. Like, all 5 of those guys are one player, actually. But that's not how I see it, because, I'm a human being, and I like to, like,
Of
say
course.
who's the best player, and, like, kind of
Sure.
join the circle jerk. But, all 5 players.
So can you join the circle jerk for a minute and tell me who you think it is?
Come on, dude. I don't know. Like, right now, Sumail's better, but, like, I don't know what that means. Like, it just like Sumail doesn't help with drafts. He doesn't help with a lot of things. Like he's just a dude, just a kid playing Dota, and sometimes that's all you need. But sometimes that's like the worst shit ever. Like let's say Sumail never joined EG, and he joined like High Priest and consoles, or like whatever Root Gaming. He would suck ass. He would be the worst shit ever. He wouldn't do anything. He would not change those teams, and then he would just run around and like play for all these teams, and then maybe he'll never be given a proper chance. Or the proper environment for him, and he would just maybe he'll turn cancerous. So he'll just start losing, and then he'll just become toxic. And then even when he joins EG, he'll be super shit, or he'll have too much of an ego to even listen to EG. Like you don't know. Like honestly, it's a pretty complicated game.
So okay,
People.
you told me there, CDEC is the best team. You think EG's really good. It's all working out there. Your team just won this tournament now. Newbie's got How now. Who's actually the best team in the world? Like, who is the favorite to win this next major?
I mean, we'll see after Nyan. It's still gonna be EG, I think.
You're just like a believe, right? You're like the #1 EG fan. What is this?
I'm not EG fan. I hate them.
You believe in them, though. You think they're like Superman. They can always come through and win in the end.
I mean, they showed it again, right? At MLG, and it's a classic PPD, right? Like they play Vega, they lose 2-0, and I predicted that too. I told Pyle that they're gonna get last place in that tournament. I was joking with Pyle. I was like, watch, they're gonna lose to Broodmother 2 times in a row. Like a week before the game started, actually. I recalled it. I was like, they're gonna lose to Broodmother, and then Pyle's like, no, he's gonna ban it after game 1. I was like, nope. You play against Vega, you don't ban Broodmother because you're stupid, and then next game you still don't ban Broodmother because you're stupid. That's how it works. And like we played against EG a lot, and we 2-0 them all the time. Like and then we lose later on. But so that's how they work. I know that firsthand.
So now that you're playing with Pieliedie again, is he a different player? I mean, it is years later. Is he a different player to the guy you used to play with back in speed gaming?
No, he's the same dude. It's just we have different players on the team. Like, cause like I said, like this is how Dota works. Is like all 5 players is 1 player. At the end of the day, that's how it works. And like I have changed to a point where cause the only top team I've ever played with is me. I mean, the only time he's played with me is on C9 or Kaipi or whatever, same team. And he had a lot of respect for me, but it wasn't until after he got kicked and he played for other teams that he realized what he was missing, sort of thing. So now coming back, and I've grown so much as a player, and as like a person who's thought about the game a lot, like and people a lot, that he respects me more now. And then there's also Puppy, obviously. So it's like, holy shit, there's Puppy. And then fucking he's just a dude. He can play. Like he was always a good player. He was always like I always consider him one of the best players I played with. But he had some problems, and those problems, like, I'm sure they still exist. And I'm sure if he joined a lesser team, like they might come. But right now on this team, like, he's fine. And that's how teams work.
So you've never had like a big TI placing? That you've had all these, now you've had tournament wins, you've had top 2s, you've beaten almost every team imaginable at different points in time. Does it bother you that you've never had that big TI run where you make like the top 4 or the final? Or
well, the problem is, like, there's only 2 teams in the world in the West that's ever made top more than 4. I mean more than 5. It's only Navi and actually there's Alliance now. There's 3 teams.
Okay.
Okay, there's EG, Navi, and Alliance. And recently there's only been EG. Like this year and last year, I think there's only been EG. Yeah, it's true. West sucks. We suck ass. Like, I don't know. It's just not.
That's not a big deal to you?
It's not common. Like, so it's not like holy shit, Envy, how's it feel to never been top TI? It's like, I mean.
Okay, but I mean AUI's been first at TI, hasn't he?
I mean, sure, but that doesn't make me jealous. I mean.
Didn't ask you to be.
I mean, it feels. I mean, obviously, I would like to, like I'm sure last year, if I thought about how it would feel if I never got like first place at TI or whatever, like this year, I would feel like shit. I was like, oh man, what a shitty world. Like, but like, honestly, I feel like my career in Dota is gonna last quite a long time.
If you never
see myself falling apart ever.
If you don't win TI, are you someone where as long as you're decent enough, you'll just keep playing forever?
I mean, if I talked to a magical genie and he told me, you will never be the best ever, I would quit the game right now.
Really?
But yeah, I would. But like, that doesn't exist.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be aiming, like, for the best, and then, I mean, I don't feel.
Wait a minute. Not even win TI. You want to be the best ever.
I can't learn. Yeah, I want to be the best ever. Like, winning 1 TI is not enough.
Okay.
Like, I would want more than that.
Well, I mean, you remember what you said. Technically, you can never be the best at EternaLEnVy. Only your team, because the team's like one person. So you need to be the best team ever, right?
Okay, sure. Okay, sure. I'll be the best arm ever. I'll be the left arm. That's what I'm gonna be on that team.
How would you compare this team you have now to the past 2 versions of C9? What's different about it? Are there any similarities? I mean, you got a few of the same players. So are there any similarities to how the team plays or the thought of how to win?
Well, when it comes to picks, we like kind of just play a lot of different heroes. It's a mentality of like, I don't know, I like to nerd out on heroes, and then people we just talk about Dota a lot and play. So yeah, we have a big hero pool, I guess, and we're like kind of not scared to try things out and like whatever. I mean, the other thing is like people are kind of scared of like some heroes that I play, like Nagasama or something. They have to think about that a lot. But the one big difference is we can adapt. Like, I didn't really think about it until I was better, as much as I did now. Like when I played with Puppy, that he's able to like I needed that one step ahead, like one more step, where like there's a lot of times in tournaments where I talked about some things and I wanted to change some things, and I've done that, but it hasn't been consistent. There's been some tournaments where I've changed a lot of the picks like right away in the middle of a tournament. Like at DreamHack, we did that when we got 2-0 by VP in the semifinal, then we 3-0 them afterwards. I had to change it right away, and there's some other instances as well, but it's still pretty rare. I feel like with Puppy, I can, if I talk to him about Dota, he'll always, he'll come up with something, and then we'll probably build on that and change it up. But this tournament, we changed like twice. And last tournament, ESL, we also changed because we had this belief that Spectre was broken, which she isn't. And we first picked Spectre. I mean, I didn't want that to happen actually. I don't know why they first picked me Spectre. That was just weird. But I mean, they're like, first pick Spectre. I was like, that's meh. But I mean, go ahead, I guess. And then we did it, and then we're like, all right, so we're not doing this again. No, I don't know. We can change it up. It's nice.
When I asked AUI to name like the best players in the world, like pick out the best ones at each position, he just basically said it's all of EG and that they're just the best. Okay. And if I ever read, I mean, I don't do it on that often because I like to keep my mind free of pollution, but if I ever read the Dota subreddit on Reddit, then people are always telling me on there like, oh, S4 was the best this summer and Arteezy's the best, and it's always Western names all up and down the list. If I ask you who the best players are, there must be some Chinese players who you'd have in there, right? Some of the best in the whole world.
I don't know. It's just like I said, man. 5 players equal 1 player. Like how? Like to me, it was the best carry. Like he's my favorite carry of all time still. But
who?
Like, and how?
How? Okay.
But when he joined, I mean, right now it's Arteezy actually, but back then before like Secret and Crazy went crazy, like was Hell, and for a long time, and like he joined Vici, and I was like, holy shit, that's insane. And then he joined Vici, he destroyed. And I talked to Ice Ice, and they're like, who? And Ice Ice is like, oh my god, I'm getting carried by a carry player. What's happening? Can carry players actually carry in Dota? He was like, that's the way he communicated, because he did not like any of the carries he's ever played with, apparently. I mean, now he's playing with Burning again, so like, I mean, that could have, I mean, I'm sure he changed his viewpoints.
Yeah, convenient.
Because, I mean, not convenient, because, like, he that's what he said right after he won with Hal, but then that's what Starlighter, and then he lost a lot of tournaments with Hal, right?
Sure.
And there was a lot of, there's some internal issues in that team, so at the end of the day, like, Hal joins back Newbie and he starts destroying again, like, he might be one of the best carries ever. He won at TI, and he won many tournaments in the past. But like where he goes, like what team he plays for, like these things like actually kind of matter, whether he's the best or not. On Vici, he didn't be like even Black was better than Hell, and in my opinion, I don't consider Black that good. But I mean that can also change, right, based on what team he plays for. Because apparently he was better for Vici than Hell.
Sure. Any other Chinese players?
Do the circle jerk.
Nah.
No. I think FY.
FY.
The thing is, like, a lot of Dota has to do with calls, and a lot to do with understanding and like what you do for your team. Like, for example, do you play a lot of clubs? Do you tell your teammates what to do, like in the game, and what to play? Like, what? And do you have good ideas or do you have stupid ideas? Like, for example, we has like some really good ideas about Dota. Like he has like 10% good ideas and his 90% shit ideas.
What percentage of ideas of yours are good?
I don't know. It's probably 50-50. But
okay.
That's pretty high. I think that's pretty high. Because like people just make ideas up and then like they're right or wrong. But I mean, we don't use the 50% of the ideas I come up with. Obviously, like we talk about it and blah 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 blah. I actually don't mind. I'm probably like 65% wrong. But like you only pick the things that end up being right, like kind of almost being right. Anyway, but yeah, and then anyway, my point is like there's other things involved as well.
Sure.
Like some players are very stubborn about their ideas, and if their ideas don't come through, then the team's dead. as Ashley does, boom, dead. like they just get into arguments and like whatever. Like then people talk about play styles and blah 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 blah, and like there's never like really a settled issue, or no one ever steps up to solve it. People take sides and stuff like that. And then people start splitting up. So it's like it's very hard to say X player is good unless you play with them, or unless someone else tells you like why they're good. Like yeah.
So you've even said during this interview that there were times in finals where you played like crap or you didn't play very well. Were you ever a tilter in C9? Did you tilt?
Oh, I tilt all the time. I mean, I don't consider myself like, I mean, I have one lance and like I don't know. I've done things in harsh situations, so I've never really lost faith in myself. But yeah, there have been times I've tilted, but I've kind of restricted it to the point where I realize, like some of the times it's because I lack sleep. Because like what happens in these lands is like you kind of play the final, you play really really late, and
Sure.
then if I'm the drafter, I have to kind of prepare for the next day. And there's been times where like I didn't sleep so I could prepare, like a little bit more. I will go back. It's like 1 a.m. and then I have to play like 10 or something. I don't know, like something like that. But I will be like, all right, I'm not sleeping until 4 because I'm gonna do some stuff. But instead, it actually would have been better to just sleep and just prepare for like 10 minutes, and just prepare like during in the series. Like as the series progresses, you kind of learn what to do instead of like going crazy. But I know I didn't really realize these things until now. I'm like way more experienced, and I played like 20 lands or something, and I've kind of there's a lot. I'm more understand a lot more, like what to eat and whatever.
Since you said that you have to, I mean, you made it even more extreme. I was just going to ask if you have to win TI, but you said you have to be the best player ever.
No, I don't have to be. It's just my goal.
Okay, it's your goal.
Like, what do you mean by have to? I'm not gonna kill myself.
No, you said it. You said if the genie said you couldn't be the best player, you just quit right then. You quit immediately.
Yeah, it's like, what's the point? Like,
okay.
It's not.
So would you go and play a different game and try and be the best in that?
No, I just couldn't. I'll just be a coach or something. I'll just coach the next best player and be like, all right, you're gonna be the best player.
Okay.
I'm gonna make you the best player ever. All right, let's go. Me and you partner up. And that's me. I'll pick some random random guy. Like I don't know. Like
has anime warped your mind?
Like,
do you watch too many anime where you have to get to that goal?
Dude, it's not about warping. It's about like knowing how it is. Like it's not worth at all. I feel like any player, every player in this game who has wanted to become pro, like and every player who's looked into like people who they respect. It's like Dendi, you know. It's like players that have been the best, or were the best, or they thought were the best at least. You know, these J-Downs and like if a StarCraft player wants to become a pro, and he's not gonna tell you like, yeah, I want to go pro because I want to make some money, and then I'm not gonna be mediocre. But like, oh well, like, you know, like, everyone has their dreams. Like they want to be a Flash, they want to be a J-Down, they want to be the best. And like when I decided to quit this game, I mean quit school and be the best, I looked into J-Down. That was my inspiration. I didn't look into like fucking. I want to be some. I don't even know. I don't want to name anyone. It's disrespectful. Like I don't want to be a mediocre player. And that's everyone's dream at the end of the day.
Do you have any more dreams than that? So number one dream, be the best ever. Number two, win TI. What's number three? Is there a third dream?
I don't know how many dreams. Well, like my point is like that's who you are. You know, that's your roots. Like your roots is you wanted to be the best. You want to play for the thrill of trying to become the best or being the best.
Yeah, Ash Ketchum.
If someone tells you can't do it, and that guy's 100% right because he's a genie or something.
Okay.
I'm like, fuck it. Like what's you're just dead. You're just gonna be like a dead soul. Like you're gonna try playing, but like you're not gonna be truly motivated anymore. Like you're actually gonna start playing really bad if that comes in. Like you can't play anymore. That's just how it works. It's like a lot of this game has to do with mentality. Like if for some reason you don't believe that you can ever be the best because someone told you can't be the best and it's actually true, then you're dead.
Which player do you think has the strongest mentality?
Strongest mentality? Oh, Puppy.
Why? What is it about him?
I don't know. Maybe he's played for too long, but he just he doesn't really stress over anything that can be a really stressful. like a team can be super cancerous and still like, oh, what do I do now, guys? This guy's being cancerous. How do I deal with this? What do I do, guys? And you start like talking to people, and they're like, oh, what do I do? Have you been through this before? And you start asking people like, oh, you know, what did I do? You start discussing it. He just handle it. He just do something. Or maybe he won't do anything, but like he won't go crazy. He won't stress over it too much. I'm sure I'll beat his mentality in like a month, though.
What do you mean beat as? Like you'll have a better mentality, you'll just break him finally and he'll stress?
I mean, I'm close enough, but I'll beat him in a month.
Okay.
I told him that actually. I told him like 2 months ago, I was like, alright, I'm gonna take everything you have in a month or something else.
So okay, here's a question I have for you. I need you to use your knowledge of anime, and I'm going to tell you someone from Dota, and you're going to tell me what anime character they would be, or what would represent them.
I am not good at this, and I refuse to dirty my anime characters.
You're not good at it?
These stupid. I refuse to dirty my anime characters.
Okay.
by these stupid Dota players who are shit in comparison.
None of them fit that style.
No, they're all shit.
Okay. Okay, then let me ask you this then. Not particular characters, but if life was an anime, I mean, I know you've obviously thought of this before. If it was, I mean, obviously you'd be like the main character who, you know, he's like a young guy with dreams, and one day he's going to overcome like the final bosses of like PPD and Arteezy and eventually win the championship.
Actually, I actually feel like I've done many things that I feel like are unforgivable.
What? Unforgivable? What have you done? You kill someone?
No, the way I think. Like, for example, like I can win a tournament or I can win a match, and I will feel like, oh, this player carried me or something, and I'll be like, all right, that's a horrible.
Is it so important not to be carried?
Well, I mean, I don't know, this MLG, I got a rampage or something, but like I cast to get it or something like that, and that made me feel so bad because I've never done it before actually.
Do you have to literally 1v9 the game or something to feel happy?
No, that's not what I meant. Like this MLG, like there was one game in MVP or something where I kissed to get a rampage, and then my team was like cheering, was like, "Oh, good job, me," and I was like so sad. I was like kissed for it, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I can't believe I did that actually." No, because I've never done it before. Like where it's about, like it doesn't really affect the outcome of the game to do that, but I wanted to do it anyway, and that's not something I ever did. I kind of just did things to make me win. Like if I play pubs, I never. When I go for a throne, I just kill the throne. I don't go for fountain dives that much unless I want to test my strength.
Okay.
But I did that, you know, to boost up my stats and stuff, and I was like, I felt so bad. So yeah, I actually think that's unforgivable. Hopefully I don't do that again. Hang on. That was actually pretty soul crushing when I did that.
You didn't try hard.
No, I tried hard, but there was one moment where I slipped, and that was completely unforgivable because I always blame players for doing that because every player does that, or a lot of players do that, especially carries. Where they do things, I'm like, alright, that guy's playing too safe because he wants to secure his MMR. I mean, secure his GPM. Like, Black does that a lot. Nah, I fucking hate that. I fucking hate that a lot.
Okay, so no one can play perfect, but is there anyone who has, like, their styles are so stable, it's like they can almost play perfect? They play so few mistakes. Is there anyone?
I don't know what that means. I mean, I think Puppy plays really good.
Okay, who's the player who makes the least mistakes?
What? That makes no sense. Like... I don't know what that means though. Like Well,
you know what mistakes are. Who makes the least of them?
What I think, or visually? Like
just your opinion. Just your opinion. Like who do you look at and you're like, wow, he just never makes a mistake. He always seems to do the right play. So consistent. Who's that for you in Dota?
I don't think there is one. I would have to say Puppy right now, but I don't think there is one. There's. Like,
you're really impressed by this Poppy guy. Were you this? Did you think he was this good before he joined his team?
No, I didn't. But like, I know I'm impressed by him. But like, even for him, I wouldn't put him in that category, because the problem with him and me is like we see the game in a certain, like I'm on his team, so like, and he's my captain, so like I see things he does, and if it fits his own vision, and he plays to his own vision, then to me that's a perfect player, right? But that's not true. That's not true though. That's the problem.
No, it's your opinion.
Because if I watch Sumail play, and he does things I don't like, then he does not fit my category. He does not fit my category as perfect player.
Okay.
But he might fit his teams, like because he's just bad, and I'm just bad because I don't see the mistakes that Puppy is making. In my opinion, I don't think any player is like that. I think this game is like still pretty new. I think people are making way too many mistakes. Because when I watch other teams play, like I see mistakes from fucking everyone. Like, at least maybe not in one game, but like overall in a few games, like you're gonna see a lot of pretty fatal mistakes that are like really game losing, and they might not see those mistakes that you see yourself, and I might not see mistakes that my teammates are making, but I'll see them in a month. Like you know, like every month I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck was I doing a month ago? So I don't know. I don't think there is any player like that.
Okay. Do you have any final words for everyone who watched the interview? Someone you'd like to thank or anything?
Thank you for watching this 1 hour and 30-minute interview. Well, I'd like to... I don't know if my team's watching this. Like, hello guys. Hello stream. That's it. Hello C2Z.